The goal of this project was to see if we could make the geologic map of Alaska more web accessible. So we thought, well, maybe we could try, if there's web services available, maybe we could try using TerriaJS, which is an open source framework for web portal development, essentially developed by the Australian national government. They actually, when they built their national map viewer, they decided to build a framework underneath it, on top of which you could build apps like the National Map Viewer. So this is their National Map Viewer built on top of TerriaJS, and you can go and do things like add different data. So here we're like adding web data, and I just want to show you that it supports a bunch of different OGC and ESRI services, and then in other vector formats, GeoJSON, CZML, and your running route, and so a lot of different types of data. It's all open source, but when we went and looked on Sciencebase, which is the USGS place where you'd find web services, we didn't find any services for this map. We did an advanced search on Alaska Geology and ESRI MapServer and some other services, and didn't come up with anything. So we went back to the publication page for the Alaska map, the Geology Map of Alaska, and we noticed that there is a geodatabase here. So we downloaded the geodatabase, brought it up in ARC, saved it out as a service description file, and with that service description file, we were then able to upload that to Sciencebase. And now if we do a search, we can see that the map services, if we click here, automatically get generated when you upload an SD file here. You get the services down below. Now if you take a look at the web map service, for instance here, let's dump this in here, you can see that there's a bunch of different layers. You can see all the different layer numbers here, and there's a couple of different ways you can interact with this in TerriaJS. So TerriaJS you can configure with, you can do that drag and drop kind of method, or you can build these simple little JSON files. So here is an example of the JSON file we built here for the Alaska map once we had that URL. So we dropped the URL in here, and we call this an ESRI MapServer group. And that's about it. Give it a name, give it a viewpoint, and then what you can do, actually let me show you the other one. We did that one. So that's all the layers as one group, and then we split out this one where we actually have two items that we specify, and we specify a particular layer number. Okay, so just pulling out two particular layers, just showing two different ways you can do it. So what's kind of cool about Terria then is if you go to a TerriaJS endpoint, we've deployed this one here. Super easy to deploy. Again, 100% running in the browser. Easy configuration with Node to deploy an endpoint. Or you can just take somebody else's endpoint, as I'm going to show you here. You could take our endpoint. If you take the raw view of that JSON file, you can take that. Actually, let me go back. So here's the raw TerriaJS URL, and we can actually put some. There's a little bit of sort of commands that we can put on top of that URL. Append to that URL, which basically says, I don't clean all existing data sets. I want to see a clean view, and don't cache any data. And then on top of that, we can add the raw URL that we had here. So let's go here, cut and paste it onto the end here. So now what we've got is that endpoint plus some few commands to clean out the existing data, and then just pointing to that JSON file. And if we hit return here, it comes back with our view that we've defined, and we see the particular layers that we specified. We told them to open them by default. So here's the legend over here. Here's the map. And you can zoom in, and of course you could add your own information here. You could keep adding new layers through JSON configuration or drag and dropping information onto the map, and you can find out what type of rock this is. And just to show you up here that we can go, let's remove all those layers, go up here to the end of this and just say Alaska Geology, and this will now then should load the basically the data from Just Control F5 on that. And just to show you that this will bring up the, this is the configuration which has all the data as a group. So you can go into Add Data now and see this Alaska Geology. If you open that up, you can see all the different layers, and then you can go add them as we did before. That's it. Thanks a lot.